Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the Astilla Prime that dropped with Gara Prime yesterday. Now I'm running her deluxe because I still haven't managed to get her, but maybe my luck will fare better today. So let's take a look. Astilla Prime is a decent upgrade from its vanilla variant, sporting higher crit chance, crit damage, and status chance, as well as a larger magazine. This does improve on a lot of the quality of life issues the previous version had. If you compare it to the original Astilla, you can see the crit chance and status each got about a 4% buff and a 50% magazine increase. The damage was also significantly buffed, up from 70 to 100 as a baseline for the projectile itself, so that's nearly 50% extra damage. I got 3 builds for you today, one for general play, endgame, and Eidolons, so let's take a look. First, we're going to start off with the general gameplay build. This one is touted as the 100cc 100 status setup. First, we're starting off with Prime Point Blank for our base damage, and then Hunter Munitions. I would have loved to put Internal Bleeding on, but you can't fit that on shotguns. Fingers crossed for the future. Hell's Chamber for the extra multi-shot, which is perfect for fueling more slash procs and viral. Blunderbuss for the critical chance that is sorely needed on this shotgun. Primed Ravage for that critical damage scaling. And Frigid Blast and Toxin Barrage to make viral, as well as significantly boosting the status all the way up to 81.4. Then in our final slot we have Modus Setup. This is essentially a dual stat mod, pushing our critical chance up way higher, which is super handy due to Blunderbuss being a pretty weak mod to start out with, and actually allowing us to surpass 100% status. As the name states, this is a 100% crit chance and 100% status build. So you can see status managed to reach it with Modus Setup, but how exactly are you going to hit 100 on critical chance? Well, let's take a look at Gara instead. I'm running the Combat Discipline aura like I previously showed you in the Zymos Ivara setup. Now this should be a rank 0, I just need to fix my build a little bit, but we're going to be running this with Arcane Avenger. As you kill hordes of enemies, the damage you take from the aura can't count towards proccing the Arcane, so you can have a pretty much 100% uptime on it. Our second arcane today is Tempo for the extra fire rate on our Astilla, as it's a full auto weapon, so it will benefit hugely since we don't have any other source of fire rate on the weapon. Now you'll see how the stats are spread for impact and viral, and then puncture slash viral. We don't have to worry about the slash weighting as much, although it is higher than puncture. It is diluted quite a bit by viral, but instead we're going to be depending on Hunter Munitions. The innate slash is just a cherry on top. Multi-shot is also extremely important on this build because not only will it increase the amount of viral stacks that we produce, but also the slash ticks. For our Exilus, I haven't unlocked it, but I would recommend running Lethal Momentum because this weapon does have a decent amount of fall off. Now for our companion today, I'm bringing the Worm Prime. There are a couple reasons for this. First is Negate is super handy for blocking any status effects that come in, whether they be magnetic procs or knockdowns. Prime Regen gives you higher sustainability on your Sentinel. The 2 synth mods gives you holstered reload set bonus, as well as improving their tankiness with health orb slightly. Primed Animal Instinct and Vacuum are your standard mods. Fired Up is super essential to restore the heat weighting on your Sentinel's weapon to help you proc status, and Assault Mode so that it actually attacks, but that will screw up the test, so I'll take this off for now. Our Sentinel weapon of choice today is Verglass. This is essentially a Glaxon slapped on as a Sentinel weapon. It is a beam weapon and we're building it for viral and heat. You can see here with the heat weighting, it was restored slightly by Fired Up, which acts like a heat elemental mod, but doesn't take up a weapon mod slot. I also have Punch Through for crowd control and a Bane as well as a Riven, but that really isn't necessary. So let's test this out. First, you gotta remember to double jump or bullet jump, but double jump is easier to proc Modus Setup. Now we can start shooting the heads. You'll probably want to get in the habit of aerial shooting with double jumps like this, so every single time you land you reproc Modus Setup. It does a fair bit of damage, especially once Avenger goes off. Every single shot becomes a crit, and you can kill them pretty easily, taking about 3-ish, maybe 4 shots to kill them outright with Avenger active. But the thing is, if you don't have Avenger up, it is a little bit more troublesome, taking probably upwards of 5 shots. This favors a highly aggressive playstyle where you continuously kill enemies to fuel your Arcane Avenger and keep it up so that you can maintain that 100% crit chance. This way you'll get more slash ticks because they're entirely reliant on you actually hitting crits. Now, I got a slightly different build, but it is faction dependent and it does slightly less initial damage out of the box, but it has faster reload because, well, we're running chilling reload instead of the 60/60 cold mod, so our status has dropped a bit, but because the base status is 37, you're still pushing about 96% status, which is perfectly fine. On the other hand, we did drop Blunderbuss for our primed cleanse bane, so our only source of critical chance on the build is now from modus setup. This drops us all the way down to the base 21% critical chance. With modus setup active, we are at 42%, so you will absolutely need to keep up Arcane Avenger, otherwise you're missing over half of your total crit chance. So let's try it out. Once again, we're going to be in the habit of constantly double jumping every single time. You can see even before I have Avenger active, it only takes about 3 shots, and maybe 4, then they're dead, with excess slash ticks left over that could have done more damage. This just really goes to show how powerful faction mods are, because slash ticks do get to double dip on them and lets the 55% increased damage apply twice, giving you a net something X multiplier. I honestly forgot. I think it's like 2.4 or so. But once you get Arcane Avenger up after getting a couple of kills, now you get 1 shot to the face. That's enough to kill him. That one right there. That one there too. Oh, it didn't proc there. Let's try again. That one and that one. So yeah, this build is very faction dependent and you're going to have to swap out your Bane every single time. Now for the final build today, let's take a look at how it fares in Eidolons. I remember Astilla being slightly underwhelming, but maybe I just don't remember it right because that was when Chroma was still meta. As always, we're going to run Primed Point Blank and then Hell's Chamber, as well as our critical damage, Primed Ravage. We are extremely reliant on critical chance on this build since you can't proc Avenger reliably yourself in hunts, so we're only sitting at 39.9% crit chance. Harrow only gives us 50%, therefore I'm going to slot on Laser Sight. That way we will surpass 100. For a heat mod, I'm choosing to run Blaze. I think I could have run Incendiary Coat instead. There shouldn't be too much of a difference because we do have a bunch of other sources of elementals and base damage already, say from Vigorous Swap or Shock Trooper. Finally, we're slotting Vigilante Armament since we want to get the most out of multi-shot as possible, as that is the last remaining stat bin we haven't focused on. So let's take a look at that Volt build now. I'm going to switch over to the 4-man build and it's already set up. This is what it's going to look like. We're running Arcane Rage to give that extra base damage to our Astilla Prime. It's very easy to proc on headshots because Astilla is full auto. For our second Arcane, we're bringing Arcane Tempo today, as you will be dumping out critical hits everywhere, and Firerate will be a massive boon on the build since we don't really have it slotted anywhere. I have Sprint Boost on this build. This is actually intentional because the test that I'm going to do is calibrated against 0 CP solo. I'm running the standard 243% strength for DPS Volt, as well as Vigorous Swap. Don't forget, you do want to bring a hit scan pistol to accompany this because Astilla is a projectile, so it cannot hit water limbs. For this reason, I brought my trusty old Pandero with this ribbon, as well as Synth Charge, so I can passively reload Astilla while I have it out. You also want to bring Sarpa if you're going to use this for Eidolons, because this is considered a meme run, so you want to take off some armor with Shattering Impact. I'm improving my attack speed with Prime Fury, Gladiator Vice, and Quickening as well. You don't really need to with Volt Speed available though. Then I also have Modus Impact to cover mistakes, as well as Amalgam Organ Shatter and Tech Gravity. Finally, I have a attack speed ribbon on it, but that really isn't necessary. So let's spawn in these 110 Dracarmanic Bombards, which are intended to simulate a Terrorless Synovia solo with no armor strip. Now we're going to cast our Shock Trooper. I got to proc Arcane Rage and Tempo. Great. Now I set up my shield, proc Vig Swap, and shoot the thigh. Well, it seems like you can kill them in 4 to 5 shots. To say 5 shots, maybe 6. But remember, this is a solo with no armor strip. In a 4-man squad, it is much easier, about 2 times as easy. And with Arcane Tempo procced, the fire rate is approximately 8 point something. So it seems like we can break the limb in a little over half a second right now. In a 4-man squad, I guess we're looking something like quarter-second limb breaks. So that's it for today on the 3 Astilla builds I wanted to show you. General purpose, endgame oriented, and a Eidolon setup. Honestly, it exceeded my expectations. I guess I just didn't build the vanilla variant right originally. I hope these builds serve you well. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like, or better yet, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to bring you all the information available that I can, as well as preparing stuff for Sisters of Parvos mainline once it drops. You don't want to miss out on any of that. Also, stay tuned for my Volnus Prime build video later today, and maybe even Gara. That'll be it for this video, thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.